and sometimes with irreversible and irreparable long-term consequences. It's high time we must act together and mobilize and private resources to support mental and psychological well-being. We have probably all grown up seeing those corny motivational posters hung around our middle school, colleges, and counseling offices. Never give up. Those quotes about courage, taking risk, working as a team, most of us didn't even given them a second glance. When we got a bit older, we also were introduced to the idea of power of positive thinking by commercials and self-help books, something we never really considered. Changing attitude and really understanding what the process and realizing its true benefits. Positive thinking can lead to positive changes within lifestyle, personality, and your contribution to those around you and yourself. Positive thinking is all about self improvement and believing that you can become the person you want to be. Most times, our inner critic are the loudest forms of criticism we receive in our lives. This is all very human. What is also very human is our tendency to overthink situations and allow that overthinking to lead to negative we can give in and will it, or we can fight, persevere, and create a life worth living, a noble life. Pain is a fact. Our evaluation of it is a choice. We are faced with the reality of taking our lives into our own hand. So, does positive thinking really work? Can it change your life? Thank you so much for joining us and participating in this workshop. I hope by the end of the session, you will be more confident and positive person. Now I would like our WEC faculty in charge, Pallavi Rege ma'am, to speak few words about the session.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, welcome all participants and speaker, Dr. Snehal Kulkarni. And I see IIW, some team members are already here. And is Charul Gupta here?
She's probably
yes,
not.
I am.
Okay. Oh, hi, Charul.
Hi.
Yeah, yes. So we have afternoon here. So you have joined from London?
Charul?
I think you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes. And the video.
Yeah, so
Charul, your camera is little, it should be vertical. You have to turn your phone. Yeah.
Is it not coming? Okay. I'll try. I'll try when my talk comes to do that, because it is on a stand right now. It is unfortunately horizontal, but I'll try to make it. But yes, I am like from London, and I see Rashmi ji also here. I'm not sure if she's from London, like she is in London right now, but it's 10:30 a.m. here. So yeah, morning.
Okay, so Charul, good morning, and rest of us, a very good afternoon to all of you. We are here to hear from both of these speakers on the healthy mind topic, healthy mind and positive thinking. So I'm sure all the participants are waiting to hear from you. So I just welcome all of you and thank you for participating, all the participants, and IIW team also is here. So thank you for arranging this. Okay, and WEC, let me tell you, is a student activity cell at VIIT Pune. And this new team, we have a new team every year. So this year it has just started, and this is the second event that they have been organizing. And online events have been conducted in the past 2 years, 1.5 years. Okay, so hopefully this all these other sessions were also quite successful, great, and this one will also be same. So thank you, and over to you now.
Thank you, Pallavi ma'am, for your kind words. Now I hand over to our guest speaker, Mrs. Sangita Chatlani ma'am, to take it ahead and introduce our today's speaker.
Sangita ji?
Hi, am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Good afternoon to all those who have joined us today for our webinar on a healthy mind and the power of positive thinking. Before we kickstart the webinar, I would like to thank you all. Thank all of you for your commitment, enthusiasm, and determination to make a difference for women. And thank you to all the women who are here and beyond, listening to us and working with us. Thank you to all the lovely men who have helped put this together and make this possible. A healthy mind is essential to prosper in life, and the power of positive thinking is key to a successful life. I myself live a life where I incorporate such a lifestyle of positive attitude and implement certain techniques that enable the above. Can you hear me? Being from the background of running a motivational organization, I am so happy to be a part of such a webinar that will help transform lives. On that note, I would like to introduce Dr. Snehal Kulkarni, pediatric cardiologist. Pediatric cardiologist by profession, which means treating children with heart defects, which are mainly congenital in origin when babies need to be treated from day one of life. Currently chief of pediatric cardiac division of Sri Satya Sai Sanjeevani Group of Hospitals for pediatric cardiac care across the country, current president of Pediatric Cardiac Society of India. Dr. Snehal Kulkarni.
Thank you very much. I'm audible, isn't it?
Yes, Dr. Snehal.
Am I audible well?
Yes, yes, Dr. Snehal, yes.
Yeah. Thank you very much, the Women's Cell of VIIT, and especially thanks to Grishma for getting me on this platform. I'm really excited. I'm always like wanting to talk to the students who are from technology and engineering background, because I started with my career in 1980 with admission in an engineering college. That time there was a facility that I could go into any of them, and I really joined engineering college for a month. And that time, I think there was always used to be a norm: the girl goes to a medical college and boys go to the engineering college. And I left engineering college after 1 month of time, and I don't know whether I really did a right thing at that particular time. I still remember we were only 5 girls in a class or in a specialty of 180 students who were selected at that time. And I'm very sure, like over the period of time, there will be more than 50% of the girls in engineering and technology institute as of now. So I'm very happy to connect to you with this background of connecting to our engineering students in colleges. As most of you, I came from a small place in Western Maharashtra to Mumbai to make my career over the period of time. When you come from a small place, always you come with a lot of inferiority complex. There are always financial challenges. You don't know, you feel very low many times, and you're away from your families. Every day I used to feel that I need to go back, I can't take it. But I realized that going back was a very easy thing, and staying there and proving every day was much more a challenge. I decided to take one challenge at one time, take small goal. Every day was a different goal for me, and I decided to go ahead with that particular journey. What actually helped me was my hard work, my passion for what I wanted to do, encouragement from my seniors, and I defined my maybe smaller goals every day. I tried to get the confidence of my senior. I tried to become the most reliable and responsible person in the unit, and that made me go ahead every day. One more thing actually in that particular time helped me quite a lot was talking to my friends. I realized I was not the only person who was going and taking this kind of challenges, but there were many others like me who also were going through the same kind of a struggle which I was going through. Talking to them, understanding their difficulties and finding some solutions actually helped quite a lot during that time. And I realized in my whole professional pathway, I think that was the toughest part of my whole career, to go through that initial struggle. And when you go through that, then there was no way looking back. Then nobody asked me who I am, where I came from. I just had to prove and going ahead every day. And when you try to excel in your career, especially in the professional life, the struggles are never easy. They're very difficult every day. There are challenges, and for a working woman, it's a different challenge altogether. You have to be excellent in your professional field. At the same time, I think you have to do two other jobs which are equally demanding, and one is taking care of your family and your kids as well. And at that time, you're doing 100% job at every level, and that really, yeah, there are tough challenges we have to go through. But the consistency, the passion, and the goal you define actually makes you go and pass all these struggles. I work in a specialty called as a pediatric cardiology, as I was introduced at. It is a specialty which takes care of children with small babies with heart defects. Talking to the families, taking care of the patient is every day is a big challenge. And when I'm very down many times and I don't feel like working and doing, I always look at the families in front of me, and I realize that they have much more bigger problems than I have. And that makes me go ahead and live every day a newer life in that particular situation. In fact, it's not only taking care of the medical problem, you have to take care of the family, you have to take care of the social problems, you have to help them getting over their financial problems as well. I tell you one story during the COVID time when all the transport mechanisms were completely shut off. We had one child who came to us from maybe 1,000 kilometers from here, because there is no other facility available in that particular area. All the transport was completely closed. And the family with a small child, they really came on a two-wheeler, taking a small kid. The parents drove for almost more than 12 hours to come to us, just to think, or they wanted to get the child better, and they came with a hope that the child will get better. And I realized that this hope really keeps you going every day. You have to see a better future tomorrow. They thought that the child will get better after driving for almost 12 hours of the journey. And that hope really makes you live longer and longer and gets you ahead. I think you must have all read the biography of the great scientist Stephen Hawking. He's one of the greatest scientists in astrophysics and has done a lot of work on cosmology. You know that he was diagnosed with a disease called as a motor neuron disease, where your one organ starts failing every day. And what I read through that biography, he thought there is no hope living. There was no expectations from life. And at that time, when there are no expectations, every day was a new journey for him. And he started enjoying every day of his life. I think he died at the age of 78, but at the age of 75, he used to have his suit every day, go to the office and do his work on research and science every day. And I think I try to learn a lot of positivity from him, because when none of your organs are working, only the brain was working, the way he tried to do his work in research and cosmology was really, really amazing. And that's the way actually how we can look forward and don't complain about what you don't have, but whatever you have, and with that, whatever you have, how you can really go ahead day by day. When I do my medical practice, actually, especially in medical fields, we do face with a lot of complications, failure, because it's a very different field altogether. Like engineering, there is no set pattern in this particular profession, because every patient is a different patient. He doesn't behave in the same way what you read in the textbook. So there is a lot, and there is a scope for a lot of human error. So a lot of complications can happen, the failures can happen. And there are a lot of setbacks. Many times I feel that no, one complication happens and you don't feel like doing the same thing the next day. But again, I realized that I have to learn from my all complications and failures, and not to think why this happened to me, than to think wow, how it happened. How can I minimize the next time? In fact, all these failures have taught us quite a lot. We have to learn how it cannot happen again and how it should not happen again. We do follow a book called as Complications. It's been written by a surgeon in US. He always talks about not to minimize those complications happen, so you can't avoid them from happening. The thing is that how to minimize the damage. And therefore, if you plan your things properly, the complications or the damages can be minimized. In fact, what we realize, the complications happen the least in the most complicated procedure what you do, because we plan the things very properly and see to it that how the damages can't happen. Always the problems and complications happen when you don't expect. You think it's a cakewalk, and it's never a cakewalk. So failures and complications, I think it's a part of life, and you have to take it positively and take it that how it can happen again and what lessons you can take it up when you try to do the next procedures day by day. I always feel that you as a young generation, we are looking our futures through you. As you may be knowing, in India, the average age of India is 28. So we are one of the youngest country in the world, as compared to Japan, who is 49, and most of the European countries are about 40, 45. We are one of the youngest countries what we have, and we really need young minds. A little disturbing part is that almost 17% of our intelligent brains from the world are from India. But unfortunately, only 2.8% of our research comes from the Indian scientists. And sometimes I think research and innovation should be our part of life. We always try to read and try to get all the textbook materials. That's all fine, but I think we need to have an open mind, try to think out of box what more need to be done and what else can be done. Today, you know, the medical healthcare is quite expensive. And that's one of the things, most important part of it is not that we have brains available. Most of the equipments we have to import. We don't have Indian made equipments in the medical healthcare at all. And that becomes the medical cost, which is very, very expensive over the period of time. The simple things like insulin syringes and ECG machines, we do it in Indian market, but most of them, they are replications, they are not innovations. And there, I think we need to try to work together. I know there are some meetings, it may be happening with in Pune also, but in IIT Chennai, I remember that there are meetings with the scientists and the medical experts, and we both try to come together to see what is our need and what is the thing they can provide us and how we can come together. This is a techno park which is built up on these innovative models. And a simple example, what we try to do there was, you know, the cataract, the eye surgeries at like there are not many centers in the interior part of the country. And there are a lot of cataract camps used to happen in the schools and the grounds and the classrooms. The surgeries used to happen, but then there was a thing, a concern that a lot of eye infections were happening because they were not happening in the sterile atmosphere. So what this IIT people came out, they came out with a big buses with 2 operation theaters inside, where the buses will go inside wherever it's required. You have a sterile atmosphere to do the surgeries upon, and the infections for the eye significantly came down. So what I feel that we need to have innovations where the multiple specialities can come together to go ahead and to really do a great research work which is required. And these innovations, why I feel that these are not written in the textbook, because these are the problems, they are not faced by the Western country. These are our own problems, and we have to have our own solutions for the problems which we go. I know that over the period of time after finishing the educations and all, you will be finding your job. And if you love your work and you find a job, which you love is the best possible thing which can happen, but not always this happen. And you have to look for the job and the profession which you want. As we all know, when we work in the professional field, definitely your job is going to fill up most of your life. And therefore, it is very important to find what exactly you want and what exactly you love. And that time I feel it's not necessary to see what others think about what you should do. You have to find out your own solution. Including my daughter, I tell everybody, don't waste your time living somebody else's life at all. You live your own life. You have your own challenges. Be positive and always be hungry for whatever you want to do. Thank you very much. It was nice interacting with all of you.
Thank you, Sneha ma'am, for enlightening us and being so generous with your time. I strongly relate to what ma'am said about spending time with friends. With friends, I feel energized and excited. My attitude becomes more of confidence and peace. And it is truly said that your positivity will attract success like a magnet. Now we will be taking some questions. If anyone has any question, please be sure to put them in chat box.
Dr. Snehal, thank you for such a wonderful talk. I'm actually in awe of this woman. She's reached a height not many women doctors can reach, and I'm sure it's been a very difficult journey for her too. Dr. Snehal, would you like to give any tips, especially for women or girl students? As in, because I yet believe that the journey is a little more difficult as compared to the men. Do you practice anything specifically or any pointers?
Yeah, actually, I thought like I should keep that aspect a little different, that how a woman faces different challenges.
Yes.
As I say, that going to a top in a particular field is always difficult for anybody, whether it is a man or a woman. But I personally have experience, and I feel that fighting this man's world is different, because a man is like easily accepted who goes to the top. A woman has to prove at every point and every step that she is good, she is capable, and she can do it correctly. So if a man, I think, has to do 100% or prove 100% of his efficiency, a woman has to show 120%. That's what I feel. And not only, as I said, we are fighting at multiple fronts at one time. You know, we had to fight at your professional excellence at the same time. You can't neglect your family and kids. So you have to take everybody together and go. So the struggles are really much more, and you have to prove at every front that you are 100% going to be right and successful.
Right. Anything do you practice on a daily basis to keep you motivated throughout the day? Anything specific?
One of the things actually motivated or getting out of, suppose I am down, I have developed some of the hobbies which really help me quite a lot. And if everybody has some kind of a hobby, I play sitar as my hobby. And every time when I'm very down and I'm demotivated, I feel I just take sitar, and at the end of like in half an hour, I'm a completely changed personality. In fact, as one of the example, once time I just tried to do a Ganpati idol and try to paint it. It was such a relaxing experience for me to take forward to. And I realized having a hobby, having a circle out of your professional field,
right,
that actually helps us quite a lot, because that makes you think in multiple directions,
right,
and keep you positive, because everybody is finding some solutions for their problems, and sometimes some complications, mistakes and failures. And we do learn quite a lot with each other's experiences. And actually that's the best way which I feel to get me motivated every day.
Okay.
And another thing I feel it's a physical exercise. It's not only a physical exercise, actually this is a mental exercise also. So everybody, I feel, it's even I keep on telling my patients also, it's not a physical exercise that helps your physique, but that helps your mind as well quite a lot. So these are some of the ways I try to go ahead every day, try to keep myself positive and try to cope up different scenarios. And I think in our field, what I feel when you are multitasking, you have to develop coping mechanisms. And when you try to do that, and that you have to develop it at home, in your office, and everywhere, and that's the way to go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much. Anybody else has any questions here, students?
Ma'am, I want to ask, like, how to respond if someone tells us about our weakness. Like, these things make us like low from ourselves, from down ourselves. So how to respond?
But previously, when somebody used to tell me that you didn't do, or you or try to put me down, I used to feel very bad initially. But now I try to take it very positively. Maybe that is true. What, because we perceive ourselves that we are great and we are big and we are doing perfectly well, but it may not be the fact actually. I try to take it positively, really sit on that for some time and really think that whatever somebody is telling me about, whether it is really truth, how I can improve on that. And that's the only way. Otherwise, see, there is a world when you try to go ahead, there are, if 10 people want you to go ahead, there are 90 people who do not want you to go ahead, and they will try to pull you at multiple stages, and overcome that is the biggest challenge actually. It's not a professional block, but it's a mental block, and you have to go ahead.
Yes, ma'am.
Take it positively, not negatively, that may be really something wrong with you or there are some shortcomings with you, and try to fulfill and go ahead.
Also, ma'am, we all have lots of screening in front of laptop, and we definitely has some advanced effect on our mind. So how to deal with it?
I think that doing some kind of physical exercises, whether it helps you during that, because it has a mental problem, but it has a physical problem also. Your eyesight becomes a problem, your back becomes a problem, your neck muscles become a problem, everything becomes a problem there. And sitting at one place for, I feel it's really difficult if you're sitting at your desktop for 10 or 12 hours in a day. It's really difficult. And as I said, like, you have to have your coping mechanisms developed to come out of this and overcome this kind of problems. It's difficult.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am.
One question from my side: how to keep our mind fresh?
Dr. Snehal?
Yes, Grishma.
There's a question. So somebody's asking, how do we keep our mind fresh?
How we keep our minds fresh. I
Yes.
try to find out something new every day. I think that keeps us challenging. You should not keep your mind dull and dead and all. You have to keep on finding something new every day. And that may be we can't keep on changing our careers and professions every day. That's definitely true. But try to do something little different than what we did in last month or last week. I think that will keep your minds fresh and working and very innovative. That's the only way I keep on going. Because if you keep on doing the same thing every day, it becomes very monotonous. Neither your brain works and your mind works in that portfolio. And then you try to find yourself very dull. So try to do something which is little new every time, every few days or few weeks. That's the only way to keep your mind refreshing.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much. Any more questions? Yes, I think that's it. So we head on to the next speaker.
Yes. Now I hand over to Dr. Grishma Bhubate ma'am to take it ahead and introduce our today's second speaker.
So the second speaker is Mrs. Charul Gupta. Charul is, I mean, there's a lot to say about her, but I'll let her do most of the talking and I'll just introduce. She's a senior product manager at Transport for London. She leads on the technology and data products for all surface transport services, like the buses, Dial-A-Ride, Emirates Airline, Victoria Coach Station, to address the transport needs of entire London. She's experienced at delivering across a range of intelligence solutions, including automatic vehicle location, service planning, real-time intelligence, service monitoring, and passenger information systems. Her knowledge of the subject makes her one of the global experts in her field. And guys, she's an engineer basically. So, you have a lot to learn from her. And, you need to really see at what levels you can reach. She's completed her electronics and communication engineering, and post that she's worked in the field of software development for 5 years with various companies like Accenture, IBM, and Game UK. She completed a master's from London School of Economics and then entered the field of product management. Okay, so Charul, you can proceed.
Were you all able to see the presentation that I shared?
Yes,
ma'am.
yes.
You did, right? So let me just go back again and share it. Sorry. And you can hear me as well, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so first of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Grishma and Shubham. Shubham, you've been really helpful. Thank you. And Dr. Grishma, I'm humbled with your introduction. So thank you so much. And yes, I'll just like to start by saying what Dr. Grishma just said, that I am one of you, to be honest. I am engineer. I started from India, and like my engineering, I did from India. And to be honest, I would just also like to say that I'm super excited to be here with you all. Because I think I'm engaging with an engineering college after 15 years. That's like a time almost when I completed my engineering. So it is not only nostalgic, but makes me so, so happy to be with you all. And hopefully you find my journey relatable. And what I've tried to do also is bring in examples from my real life experience or whatever I've learned and how positive thinking has played a role in my life. So basically, few years ago, I was one of you. As I said, I was in your shoes, and I am an engineer. So starting with it, I'll just like to say that the journey from the city of Kanpur in Uttar Pradesh, that's where I was born and brought up, I did my schooling and everything, to London has not been easy. And just moving ahead, Dr. Grishma has talked already about it, but just to talk a bit about the scale and just to talk about what I actually do. So the thing is, as Dr. Grishma said, that I lead on the technology and data products for all the surface transport services in London. And just to talk a little bit about scale. So I lead on the technology and data products for buses as well. And there are almost 2 billion journeys that happen on buses every day in London. So that's the scale that we are talking about. So yes, the scale is big, but nevertheless, it's very challenging and very interesting and exciting. And as Dr. Snehal was saying that, if you choose to do a work that you really love to do, then you don't work even a single day. And that's what I've realized. I always joke about it that I think product management is in my DNA and I just love it. And I'm always very, very excited because of it. So there is a photo that you'll see on your screen. And I couldn't think of a better picture for starting this session. So this is one of the posters that was being put up in London, one of the London, a very popular and a very busy station. Few of the women were selected from Transport of London, whose journey has been considered an inspiration. And I was humbled to be one of the women who was featured. And
Sorry,
as
the
you see,
screen is not active.
you can't see the screen, is it?
No.
No, ma'am.
Oh, hold on. Let me try once again. I can see it at my end, but okay. Let me tell now. Sorry. Can you see now?
Yes, yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Can you?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, great. So yeah, so basically, sorry for the glitch. I didn't realize that you all cannot see the screen. But anyways, so this is one of the posters that was put up in London Station. As I mentioned, a few of the women were selected. And I felt there cannot be a better picture to start this session. We were supposed to give an advice. And as you can see, my advice is my premise, which I really, really follow. Ignore the voice, ignore the noise, and keep yourself motivated. So that was the quotation from me. And I'll come to it that how this all relates to the positive thinking, but I really, really feel and strongly feel that you need to ignore the noise and keep yourself motivated. And it's in your gift. How do you identify what is a noise and what is not a noise? And I'll talk a bit about it. So that's me. Now moving on to my journey. So basically, starting my journey, as I said, from the city of Kanpur to now here in London and leading on all the products have not been easy. Of course, it has not been easy. It had its own challenges. But what had helped me to reach where I am today is actually what is on your screen. Think positive. Because there is no other way you can do what you want to do. Because if you do not think positive, you are not positive and you don't achieve positive. So, the starting premise is to be positive. There is no other way. Because the thing is, your brain conditions what your thoughts are, and your brain conditions in that way. And somehow, when your brain conditions, your attitude fosters what your brain has conditioned. So if you think a certain way, your brain conditions in that way, and then it fosters in your personality or in your attitude. So yes, the starting premise is think positive. Now, these two words are not rocket science, as we all know. We've been hearing about this forever, from forever. But as they say, easier said than done. So the question is, how can we think positive or develop a positive attitude? Based on my experience, it starts by believing in yourself. You really need to believe in yourself. You need to love yourself. You need to stop doubting yourself. You need to believe that you can do what you want to do. Self-doubt many a times pulls us back. And when we self-doubt ourselves, it somehow hinders our confidence. And there are many things that you could have done, but you won't do it because you don't believe in yourself. And if you don't believe in yourself, who else will? I mean, let's say you want to start up a business. Okay, you have an idea that you want to sell up to the investors. Now, if you are not convinced of that idea, and if you do not believe in yourself, then do you think the investor will put his mortgage on that? Not possible, right? So you first need to convince yourself that you have a belief that you can do what you want to do, and then only others will follow you in your journey. Let me give you a real life example. So when I applied for my current role of the senior product manager, it is a very senior role in a sense of the responsibility. I was heavily pregnant. So that's the time I applied for this role. Also, it was a massive jump for me. It was around a jump of 10x you can think about in terms of responsibilities if I had to put up a scale. And if of all the people who applied, probably I was the youngest and with least number of years of experience, if I have to put it like that. So heavily pregnant, with less number of years of experience, and the youngest of the lot. If I would have talked to someone, people would have said, not a chance. How can a business put their mortgage on you when you are supposed to go on a long leave, and it's such a senior and a responsible role. But I believed that I am very good fit for this role. I knew I had the skills. Forget about everything else. I knew I have the skills, and I had the right skills to deliver this role and make it and make a influence or add in value. So I applied for it. There were two options, right? I'm pregnant, I won't get this role. Of course, everybody would have thought it. If I wouldn't have applied, I would have not got the job, right? Anyways. So that was the outcome, But if I applied for it, then the probability of me not getting the job reduces by 50%, isn't it? 50% I won't get it, but 50% I might get it, right? So I went ahead and starting statement, I just told everyone that I'm pregnant. I was 5 months pregnant at that point of time. And I said, if I join the team, then I will be going on a maternity leave. And here I am in front of you. I got that role and I'm leading it. And just think about it, that my manager or my boss waited for me for 10 months, because when I joined the team, in 7 weeks, I went off maternity. And he waited for me for 10 months to come back and take full responsibility. And he didn't fill in that role. The role was filled by the contract basis, which was only for the time that I was off maternity. So, it all started because I believed in myself. If you believe in yourself, you bring in that positivity in yourself. You start feeling positive about yourself. You start having more confidence, let's say, to do things. So I would say that is really important. Now, once you start strongly believing in yourself, you will realize that you develop a positive attitude that reflects, I can. There was a famous American author called Napoleon Hill, and he said, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. If you are not confident enough, you'll break like a twig first time you face an obstacle. And believe me, when you make a journey towards certain, like a thought in your mind, like I know what I want to achieve in the next 5 years, or I know, as in I have set up a goal for myself, and I have set up a goal for myself what I need to achieve in 10 years time. So if you make that journey, like no journey, like, there would be very lucky people, say 0.001% people in the world who will be just having a bed of red roses and they'll achieve what they want. A normal journey cannot be complete without having obstacles. So you will have countless barriers. You will have people questioning your competencies. Number one, you need to believe in yourself. And if you believe in yourself, then you start thinking that, okay, I believe in myself, I can. And the only way to get through this is by being confident enough. I like to give another example over here. And again, it's my personal life experience. So when I was back from maternity and I joined, I had a 10-month-old daughter. And then, of course, I was out of work for 10 months. So when a woman is in this situation and joins back work, her brain is messed up, like totally messed up, because you've been with your child 24/7, 10 months old, like they are babies. And, you leave them, you come to office and you're always, one part of your heart and your brain is always at home, what must be happening, stuff, etc., etc. And then you come back to work. And this role, as I said, is a very responsible role. So I had a lot to catch up and also to contribute. In the meanwhile, Government of India approached Transport for London because they wanted some advisory work on how to improve public transport in India. So this was Ministry of Road Transportation Highways Authority. Now, as I am a global expert or a subject matter expert in my area, the first question then, I was approached, I was being asked if I would want to do this. Now, it was India, right? There was no way I could have said no. But then I had a 10-month-old daughter. I've just joined back work. It was so much to manage because this would mean I would be making multiple trips to India because I had to study the whole Indian canvas as what's happening before we could suggest or strategize how Indian government can move or what can be the strategy. But the thing is, somewhere in my mind, I really wanted to do. And it's quite funny because I always related to when my friends asked me that, what was it? How were you feeling? And I was like, you see in Bollywood movies that the violin starts playing in your head. So when I heard it was an India project, Jan Gan Man started playing in my head. And I was like, there is no way I can say no to this. It is my country. And I'm so humbled that I'm getting this opportunity to contribute and to help my nation. Because wherever I stay in this world, my heart is always in India. My brain can travel globes or do whatever, but my heart is in India and that will always be. So, so yes, I wanted to do it and I knew I can do it. Now, I knew I can do it, but then I said that there were lots of the things that I had to think about, right? And that's where comes the concept of reframing. Now, what does reframing means? So reframing means that, instead of stressing about the issues or the problems or what obstacles are, think about what positives that you can take from that situation and how you can reframe the situation or turn the situation to work in a way, in a positive way, let's call it, or achieve the outcome that you would want to. So at that point of time, I knew I can do it. I really wanted to do it. And I knew I had the skills to do it, but I had certain obstacles. I'm not even calling obstacles. There were certain situations that I had to deal with. Now, one of the promises that I did myself when I became a mom was howsoever, I know my job is stressful. I know my job is very demanding. Howsoever demanding or stressful my job is, that was a promise to me that my job should never come in between what I'm supposed to give, like time that I'm supposed to give to my daughter. So my daughter should never feel in her life that my mother couldn't give time because she's a working woman. Rather, she should always feel that my mother was able to give me time even she was a working woman. So that was a promise to myself. And that is a big challenge and a balance to make. And especially when your kids are of her age, she's 3.5 years old right now. So, okay, this was the situation. So over there, like, you ask for help, never shy to ask for help. So in order to reframe the situation, I went and asked for help. I went to my family, to my husband, to my in-laws, and I said, see, this is something I really want to do because it is helping India. And I am so driven to do it, but I can't do this alone. We'll have to run this project as a family, as a team. Are you on board with me? So they said, okay, go ahead. We'll try to do what we can. I had to make multiple trips to India. So in one of the trips, for instance, my husband came along with me and he took care of our daughter. In one of the trips, my mother and my brother, along with my cousins, took care of my daughter. In one of the trips, my in-laws took care of my daughter. In one of the trips, I left her alone over here, but then I kept my trip very short. So basically, it was like, but I took a lot on myself. For instance, I straight from the airport, Delhi airport, I was in the conference room, like just taking 8.5 hours long flight straight in the conference room. I did it because I had to maximize time. And also when different people were taking care of my daughter, I made sure that, she is not away from me for more than say 24 to 48 hours. And I used to take flight and come back to her. So I balanced it. I worked on it. There is no problem in the world that doesn't have a solution. And then I was able to be part of the project. And we delivered a very successful strategy frameworks to the government of India. And till now, COVID happened at the back of it. But Indian government really want to pursue this and they really see it as a valuable piece of work. And there are some stuff already happening at the back of it based on our learnings. So, things happen in life, but, you have to think and move ahead from the obstacles. Now, howsoever you plan for the obstacles, how best planning you do, it is not possible in life that you don't see the failures. That will happen. So what do you do then? That's where something called as resilience comes in. Resilience can be described as an ability to recover from failure. So instead of letting failures and challenges overwhelm you, try to turn them into opportunities. I strongly believe, and I've always believed this, that whatever happens for a reason. So it is important for us to learn from our failures and move on instead of constantly crying over it. What we will achieve of constantly, even if we cry, what are you going to achieve it? A few things when done cannot be undone. So instead of wasting energy on what cannot be undone, better focus on what can be done. And this is my personal experience in life, that there were many occasions in which I really, really worked hard and, I put more than 200% of efforts and it was a fail. At the end, I didn't get the outcome I was trying to achieve, or I didn't get what I wanted. But somewhere parallel, unthought of, something really big has happened, which I didn't prepare or which I didn't think of. So I always feel that your efforts, if you've put on honest efforts, that they never get wasted. Maybe you will not get what you are trying to, but you will get something else in return. And that would be equally big or rather bigger than what you would have thought. Another thing that I really feel is meeting your failures is to be basically be grateful. Be grateful and count your blessings. When something wrong happens, when a failure happens, just think about the fact that it could have been worse. Just think about it. It could have been worse. So whatever has happened, there could be something like more bad that could have happened. That didn't happen. So just be grateful about it. Learn from it, rebound, and move on. Just giving one example. So we all as Indian engineering students, most of us aspire to go to IIM. I did as well. And I gave an IIM, I gave an MBA examination and I did make into the IIMs that I wanted. I was upset. Of course, I was upset. But the thing is then, when I was talking to my parents, what they told me was that it's okay, you didn't get it. Maybe you get something bigger. Maybe there is something else for you. And I was like, what better than I am? Like, seriously, I'm in India, I'm an Indian. What better can I am? And like, being in those top IIMs, what better? No. And they were like, no, just be grateful of where you are. I was working at Accenture or IBM at that point of time. And they were like, oh, you have such a good career. You've done so well in life. Just move on, keep working hard and you'll get it. And see, at the end of it, I landed in London School of Economics and LSE, London School of Economics and Political Science, which is #1 university in London. And I did my management course from there. And my career has taken like a flight from there because LSE has played a big role. So, not every failures do happen, but don't cry over it. You will cry, you will be upset. But just think about, as Dr. Snehal was also saying, think about what you can learn from those situations, what you can learn. Just take those things, learn those things, embed it within you and move on. And just keep on making constant efforts and keep on keeping that positive attitude, because life doesn't end if one thing doesn't happen. Life is too big and opportunities and options are too many, to be honest. Just one thing didn't happen, that doesn't mean that's end of life.
Charul get disconnected.
Hello, ma'am.
Hello. Yeah, I think she's got logged off by chance. I don't know.
Shall we wait?
Yeah, we'll just wait for a minute.
Yeah.
Hello.
Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Charul. Hello, Charul.
Ma'am hasn't joined yet.
Sorry for that. Can you all hear me now?
Yes, ma'am.
I'm really, really sorry for it. So, yeah. So, okay, I'll not put my presentation for now. But yes, because that was honestly the last slide. So the thing is, when I'm talking about avoiding, so just talking an example from one of my, there was a girl in my class and, she was really good at mathematics. So I was also amongst the first top 5 students of my class, but I might not have been as good as her. Now she unknowingly, obviously she might not have knowingly done it, but she's somehow always used to talk about maybe I'll not achieve what I want, blah blah, or I'm not good at maths or somewhere her constant nagging was hammering my confidence, and I didn't realize it, to be honest. Now me and my best friend, who was not in my school, we used to go in the same coaching, as in India we have it, to prepare for engineering. And my best friend realized that that's something what is happening. And then she told me that, Charul, that this is something that is happening and you need to be careful about it. And I just went to my mother and I asked, have you observed something? And she said, yes, you've been always a very positive person. You've always been very hopeful person. And we realized that somehow you've started to become a little less confident or less positive about yourself. And that was the step. That doesn't mean that she's not my friend. She's still my friend. But I just took 10 steps back. And when after a few years, I thought about it, I actually realized that, that was somehow rubbing my confidence. Yes, for sure, it was. So, that was all about positive thinking and why it is important. But just having positive thinking won't get you everything that you need. You think that, okay, I'm thinking positively. Now I've learned all about positive thinking. I know what to do. I know what to do when failures occur. And you think some magic happens. Magic do not happen in real world, as there is no shortcut to success. You have to work hard. There is no substitute. So you keep on working hard and complement it with positive thinking. And that's where you achieve what you really wanted to achieve. I'll just like to end or wrap up by saying few Hindi lines, which I really, really believe. मंजिलें उन्हीं को मिलती हैं जिनके सपनों में जान होती है. पंखों से कुछ नहीं होता, हौसलों से उड़ान होती है. Thank you. Any questions? I'm happy to take any questions.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for sharing such inspiring and motivational journey of yours. We are pleased to have you here. If anyone has any questions, please be sure to put them in chat box.
Thank you, Charul. That was a wonderful talk. It's very inspiring. I'm
Thank
sure
you.
all these youngsters really need that boost, especially with the pandemic. It does take a toll, and we're not enough motivated. But and I see a lot of energy in you even now, so it just speaks volumes. Anybody has a question here?
I'm looking for questions because
Yes.
and I'm sure that you will have many. So please, as I said, that I've taken that journey and I know how many questions can be there in your head at that point of time. So
Yes,
please feel
ma'am.
free.
Yes, ma'am.
Right.
I want to ask, like, as being an engineering student, it is always said that engineering students are the depressed ones. And when you are depressed, you just don't know about it. And the kind of thoughts are going on, it's always in a loop that doesn't stop. So I just want to know that how we can take someone out of a depression and anxiety.
Okay, first of all, do I look depressed? I'm an engineer. So no, so engineering students are not always depressed. That's I would not start with it, but I really feel that, in any ways, depression and anxiety are big words. They are like mental health, like big mental health challenges that we are having right now. And I can understand that, when you are in an engineering college, there is a lot of competition. There is a lot of, all of a sudden from school, you come into engineering college, there's lots of syllabus. There is a competition, then you start thinking about jobs and all of it. I would just like to say that just calm down. Like, there is a lot of support that you get from the university and colleges. And that's where this talk is coming into play. That's where we are talking to you all about that, just be positive, think positive. And what's the reason to be depressed? Like, just think about it. You're just out of school and 4 years of engineering. You have a life ahead. Like, it's just the education that you are getting in. So, don't take it as a depression. As I said, there are multiple options in the world that you can do. Just explore what you want to do. Enjoy the journey. To be honest, engineering college, if you don't enjoy, then you will have a big gap in your life and you'll regret it afterwards that I didn't enjoy my college time. So enjoy the journey, absorb the learning, and be positive, and just think about what you want to do. And don't get absorbed into the negativity and, like, what will happen to me? What will happen to my life? You will be good. Believe me, you will be good. We all are good. We all are doing good. We all are fine. We all are happy. So, and I can totally understand when you ask that question, because when you are in that frame of mind, so many things go on. Just believe in yourself and just move ahead and enjoy the journey, honestly. And you will be fine. Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Anytime I will feel low, I'll definitely watch this recording in a loop.
You can take my email address as well.
So the next question is, what is the best way to improve our mental health being?
Hobbies. Hobbies, as Dr. Snehal has also pointed out. So hobbies, that is one of the way. And, don't completely suck yourself into the seriousness of life, honestly, because at the stage where you all are very young. So, you need, and to be honest, as I was talking about, if you be positive, you feel positive, and that will reflect and you will be happier. So, you really need to find hobbies, do things that interest you, go out with your friends, because you need to balance your life and balance your day. Every day should not be just studying and just doing that, because your brain do not get chance to refresh. Even if you run your car constantly, that will crash. So you need to give your car break in a garage, right? And you need to make it to rest. And same is with you all. Same is with me as well. Honestly, I dance with my daughter, I play with my daughter, and that's how I get the break. I have lots of hobbies which I follow. That's what I do. So you need a break. You need a time for yourself. You need a time where your brain is not thinking anything serious. Your brain needs rest, and your brain needs something to do something which doesn't it requires it to constantly process. So do something that you love. For instance, Dr. Snehal was talking about, she plays sitar. Follow your hobbies, go out with your friends, relax, watch movies. I mean, this time is not going to come back. Believe me, I don't get 10 minutes for myself now. So I'm telling you, you all need to do what you really want to do now. Now is the time. And if you be happy, you be positive, life would be positive.
Thank you, ma'am. And Shubham wants to know, like, how you face negativity from surrounding during the opportunities came in your life.
So and I touched on this topic when I was talking about that basically when negative, as I said, life is not bed of roses. So if you try to achieve something, definitely there are going to be negativity, obstacles or stuff. What you need to do is learn from it and move ahead. What it should not do is completely bring you down. So you always need to see that I have to move a step up and not come step down. And two things come into play over here. One was, as Dr. Snehal was explaining, and if there is a negativity in terms of somebody is telling you that you have a weakness, take it in a positive light, reflect and see if you have to improve on it. But then, as I mentioned, that there are certain things that you need to avoid in life. If you feel that there is a constant negativity coming from a particular place or a particular point or a particular person, then goes my starting poster or a picture that I shared of mine, which said, ignore the noise and keep yourself motivated. So, it just learn from what you can, if it is about your weakness, and if it is a constant negativity, just ignore the noise and keep yourself motivated. Because the thing is, what you need to focus is positive in life. Life is too short to focus on negativities. Negativities are only going to bring you down. They're never going to take you up. So, learn to balance, as in choose what to choose. Like, if somebody is talking about negative, is this something for me to learn from it? You learn it. If you feel that there's nothing to learn from it and it's just a negative energy which is bringing me down, just ignore and move ahead. Because as I said, it's important to believe in yourself. And if you believe in yourself and you feel that, okay, I think what I'm doing is right, and your basically well-wishers, your parents, your friends and everything feel that you're on the right path, then you know that you're on the right path, right? So
Yes.
that's how you deal with negativity, basically. And I deal with negativity or failures. Learn and move on.
Yes. Our next question is from Sanskriti Sharma. Being an electronics engineer, have you ever got confused at certain point about hardware and software side? What to choose? Like how and when you got to know your exact interest?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. And as I said, I can speak a lot about it based on experience, but this was something and I'm happy that this question is being asked. So I was electronics and communication engineer. And that was because when I gave engineering, electronics and communication was the number one choice. Every year there is a number one choice that goes. So at that point of time, it was a number one choice. Everybody was going for it. I went for it as well. And to be honest, I've made 2 robots at the age of 23 in Indian Institute of Technology, IIT, as we all know, with one of the great professors. So I've done all of that. But when I was doing my electronics and communication engineering, and when specifically I made robots, because in robots you have to code, as you all know, that you code the microchips. I really always liked the part of coding. And I really felt that that's something that interests me. So what I did is, now I'm not a software engineer. I was an electronics and communication engineer. So in my every summer break that I used to get, I joined, I don't remember, I think it is called Apex or something like that. There was an institute that used to teach coding. So I used to join it and I used to learn programming every summer vacations. So I did this constantly for 3-4 years whenever I was in engineering. And that's how I picked up software skills and I learned programming and I really started enjoying it. And hence why from there, I went for the software product development. I was a developer before, I was a programmer before. And when I was doing my programming and when I was a developer, in Accenture and IBM, I realized that I wanted to be a product manager after 5 years because I really loved it. And then I felt that now I want to be on the other side. That's where I did my management. And that's since then I'm into product management. So that's how I made the choices, and that's how I realized it. If that answers your question, I'm happy to ask if there is address if there is an extension to the question.
Sanskriti, do you want to ask anything?
No, like, thank you so much, ma'am. Like, I am satisfied with your answer. And because also this question actually triggered in my mind because I'm also the student from electronics and telecommunications branch. So yeah.
Okay.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Yeah. So it was honestly when I was working on the robots and the coding side of it, because my project also that we have to do in engineering was also intelligent traffic lights. So that's also we coded. So I really enjoyed the coding part of it. And that's how I shifted, basically.
Our next question is from Prachi. Like, how to overcome weakness with the positive approach?
Sorry, I didn't get that. How to overcome?
Weakness with positive approach.
Okay, how to overcome weakness with positive approach. So, hi Prachi, just to address your question, basically the weakness, if you know that you have a weakness, and if you realize that you have a weakness, the first thing is introspect yourself and just try and understand that what is the weakness that is being talked about? What are the occasions? Just try to think about what were the occasions where your weakness came.
Oh, not you, Shreya Hazard. I'm talking about Shreya Saudi.
Sorry.
Sorry, there are two Shreyas.
Sorry.
Charul, you're on mute.
Oh, somebody muted me. I don't know. There was some confusion. Somebody started talking and muted me. Okay, fine. So basically, you try to think about your weakness. Then think about the occasions where where your weakness came out, or you just saw that, oh, those were the occasions where I felt like, for instance, some people have fear of public speaking. So, and I'm just taking this as an example. Some people have fear of public speaking. Now, if you want to be a public speaker, that is a weakness and you really want to do it. And as you said that, in following a positive approach, you want to learn about it, record yourself, speak in front of mirror, or record yourself and listen to your recordings. When you listen to your recordings, you will realize that, oh, maybe I'm using a lot of, maybe I'm getting nervous, maybe my body language is not correct, maybe my pronunciation is not correct, whatever. And that's how you will learn. So basically what you need to do is you need to first identify the weakness. 2, think about when your weakness comes out, basically, and what is your behavior? What do you do at that point of time? And then plan out how to overcome that weakness. Maybe there are some learnings that you need to do. Maybe you need to self-check when such situations occur. Oh, this is a situation, I'm going to react like this. I need to be careful because that's what I've promised myself. So, so that's what you need to do. Identify, reflect, plan. I hope that answers your question, Prachi.
Yes, ma'am. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Charul ma'am. You were such an inspiring. I mean, I was like 50% afraid when I started this. Now I'm 50% confident. Like I'm 100% like, yeah, I can do this now.
Yeah. So okay, my objective is achieved then.
Yes.
So that's really good to know. Thank you for the feedback, Kunjan.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now I would like to wrap up. Now I would like Prajakta to propose a vote of thanks. Prajakta, you there?
No.
Prajakta?
Yes. Good evening, Honorable Leena ma'am, Pallavi ma'am, Charul Gupta ma'am, Snehal Kulkarni ma'am, and all my dear friends. I am Prajakta Sangre, Secretary of Women Empowerment Cell. It's an honor to be here, asked to offer a vote of thanks on webinar of Healthy Mind, the Power of Positive Thinking.
On behalf of my college and the entire WEC team, here I am very gratitude to all the speakers for sharing their graceful words with us in today's meeting. It has been our tribute to host all the members and to join everyone for the meeting. Next, I would like to express sense of thankfulness to core members and the volunteers for taking initiative in arranging the webinar. Further, I would thank to all the participants for coming here and attending the webinar. Once again, thank you.
It's been great pleasure for IIW team to be here and arranging this wonderful session. So, any words from the IIW team like Grishma ma'am, Sangita ma'am, Rashmi ma'am?
Yeah, I would like to thank Dr. Snehal and Mrs. Charul Gupta. Thank you so much for taking out the time and addressing this gathering here. I would just like to inform, we have a school award function coming up on the 5th of September. So the Zoom link will be the same. So we're just trying to honor and do a little bit for the school teachers across India. So please log in and support. We will be sharing the the link again. I will take Shubham's help. Yeah, thank you so much.
And thank you everyone for arranging this session. I really had a great time.
I'm now going to end the session, yeah?
Yep.
Goodbye, everybody from Inspiring Indian Women. Thank you for choosing us as collaboration partner. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you. Bye.
Bye.